In this lecture, I'll explain how to use the Gizmo. The Gizmo allows you to move, scale, and rotate objects. You can switch between move, scale, and rotate modes using the icons in the upper left of the default interface, but since a single Gizmo can perform all transformations, it doesn't matter which one you choose. The hotkeys are W for move, E for scale, and R for rotate. In contrast, the hotkey for returning to draw mode is Q. Pressing Q will bring you back to standard sculpt mode. These hotkeys follow the layout of the keyboard, so they're easy to remember. As I mentioned earlier, since any of the three transform icons display the same Gizmo, I personally use W to show the Gizmo and Q to return to draw mode. Now let's go over how to operate the Gizmo. The controls are quite intuitive. The axes are color-coded: red, blue, and green. You can move objects along the axis by dragging the arrow icons at the ends. The light gray arrows on the sides let you move freely based on the camera view. The small box icons on each axis allow you to scale the object along that axis. If you hold Alt while dragging, it will scale the object along the two axes other than the one you selected. The square in the center allows for uniform scaling. The circular icons are for rotation. The light gray circular ring around the outside lets you rotate the object based on the camera's perspective. You'll notice 7 icons lined up above the Gizmo. These are tools for additional Gizmo-related functions. Let's go through them one by one, from left to right. Clicking the gear icon opens a menu where you can switch to basic primitive shapes or access deformation functions. For example, let's select a cylinder. You can freely adjust the resolution of primitives selected from the gear icon, increasing or decreasing it as needed. Once you're satisfied with the resolution, press W again to return to the Gizmo view. Now, let's try choosing Bend Curve from the Deformation menu. Bend Curve allows you to bend the mesh into smooth, curved shapes. The colored cone shape icons let you control parameters. For instance, dragging the orange cone will add or remove control points on the mesh. These points are used to define how the mesh bends, and moving them stretches the mesh accordingly. Once the shape is set, press the gear icon again and click Accept. You can also delete or reset the applied function from this menu. Next, the pushpin icon locks the Gizmo's position. Even if you move the object, the Gizmo will stay fixed in place. The target icon beside it recenters the Gizmo to the unmasked part of the mesh. If there's no mask, it centers on the entire mesh. If there is a mask, it centers on the unmasked area only. The house icon repositions the Gizmo and the mesh along with it to the center of the canvas. So if you want to move the mesh to the center, place the Gizmo in the middle of the mesh first, then click the house icon. The rotating arrow icon resets the orientation of the Gizmo. If your Gizmo is tilted, clicking this will restore it to its default angle, and the mesh will rotate accordingly. The lock icon allows you to move the Gizmo independently of the mesh. This lets you reposition the Gizmo's pivot point to control how the mesh transforms. Don't forget to click the lock icon again when you're done to lock it back in place. You can also do this by holding Alt. While Alt is pressed, the lock icon opens and you can freely move the Gizmo. This can be used alongside all other icons except the gear icon, giving you flexible control over Gizmo placement. While using the Gizmo, if you hold Control while moving the mesh, you can duplicate the mesh as many times as you like. The original mesh will automatically be masked, so you can manipulate the duplicates separately until you clear the mask. Just remember that all duplicated meshes will share the same polygroup. If you apply auto groups, each duplicated mesh will be assigned its own polygroup. Then, by selecting Group Split from the Split menu, you can separate them into individual subtools. Lastly, the icon with a check mark and 3 bars enables multiple subtools to be transformed simultaneously with the gizmo. Hold Ctrl and Shift, then click the subtools you want to select or drag a box around them. To deselect a subtool, hold Alt and deselect it. Deselected subtools will appear with diagonal lines, and only the solid colored ones will be affected by the gizmo. This feature becomes very useful when you have multiple subtools and want to transform them all at once. That wraps up the basic operations of the gizmo. There are still many more ways to use it, so I'll be introducing more tips as we go through future lessons.